Okay, so today we are looking at creating borders and title blocks and instrument keys and paperwork. Basically getting your light plot ready to hand over to a master electrician. I'm going to have to delete that because we're going to actually build that today. So I am working on the S130 light plot that you guys are going to be doing for your offline programming project. However, it's exactly the same process that you're going to be doing on Pirates of Penzance. And if you want to have your Pirates file open and go through with it, that would be excellent. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our set. We're going to look at our set with the light plot, with the lights on it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay. And we're going to make some decisions. We're going to decide what we want the audience, or not the audience, the person who's going to be getting our light plot, our master electrician, to see and what they're not going to see. I'm going to go over to navigation. I'm going to say, okay. If I looked here, we notice that in this corner, my focus point and my instrument are kind of running into each other. Okay. And I'm going to also look, I'm going to say, wow, some of my instruments have instrument numbers and some of them don't. I can renumber my instruments by just coming up to Spotlight and saying auto number positions and waiting a moment, and look, all my instruments have instrument numbers. Yay! Okay, and by the way, they'll only display if you have an instrument number set up with your label legend. Okay, if not, they'll be there, so you should do that anyway, because it'll update your paperwork and everything. Okay, so look, I have all my stuff. Okay, there are a couple things. A few of you asked me about how do I get my instruments lined up so they're perfect and pretty, Carlin. I'm going to show you that tool. So here we've got truss, and we've got things on the front pipe and things on the back pipe. This is actually much easier to do on Pirates because all your lights are on the same part of the pipe. So I'm going to highlight the lights that I want selected. And again, I can do I can draw just a large box over them and select everything, or I can just select individual ones. Come over to Tool Sets and go to Spotlight. And I'm going to look for a thing called Align and Distribute. It's down here. It looks like this. Select Align and Distribute. And it's now what I need to do is I need to draw a line. So I'm going to draw a line that all these lights are going to line up along. Okay, draw a line. And now it says I have two choices. I can just align, which is going to just scoot the lights up and down so they're all centered on the line I just drew. Or I can align and distribute. If I click distribute, which I, in this case, do not actually want to do, it's going to set my lights every 18 inches. That's about as close as we can hang our lights and still be able to focus them. Okay? Or I can say I can evenly split them between my points, or evenly inside points. But in this case, I like where the lights are. I just want them to look pretty. So I'm going to say just align. And I click OK. And you'll notice it wasn't a big thing, but this light scooted up a little bit, and everything's now lined up perfectly with those lights. So if you have 8 lighting positions on your show, you'll need to do this 8 times, okay? I'm going to just show you how you can do it on a slightly easier one with this set. Everything is just lined up perfectly. Oops, except for one thing. Okay. Notice I grabbed those 2 focus points. Vectorworks is not smart. It will align your focus points too. Don't do that. So they're all, whoops, I missed one there too. I just drew a box around them to grab them, and I can do align and distribute again. And I draw a line that I want them to align across. And just align. And things barely moved. I did a pretty good job ahead of time on that one. Okay. But this will get everything lined up and pretty for you. Okay. Makes sense? Unfortunately, the system will not auto-align, so it's not like you can do this, then add more lights and go, oh, look, they're going to snap to the right place. They're not. You're going to have to, when you're all done, go through and do that again. It's actually one of the last things I do before I print a light plot. Okay. So our next consideration is, how do we want this to look? Do we want to include the focus points on our light plot? There isn't a right answer for this. You can or you can decide not to. What it always means is it going to make your lighting design clearer or not? And in this case, because up here I've got things interfering with other things, it's a little messy, I'm going to go ahead and turn my focus points off. Okay. So they're turned off. I can look at this and say, my seating, yeah, I want to keep it there, but I want to gray it out so it's a little less prominent. That doesn't seem to have done much. I wonder if my seating is not actually on the correct class. It's on a class called risers. Interesting. Wonder why. It's okay. I'll gray that out. Except my pipes are on that same. Remember when I said about being careful as you do your layers and classes to begin with? I was not careful. So I'm going to quickly clean that up right now. I'm going to put all these on seating. And okay, they're on truss. Good. Okay, so. Great. So my seating is grayed out. My truss is solid. It's nice to see it. You can see all my instruments. I have lined up everything. I have auto-numbered everything. I am great. I am ready to start exporting a light plot. Now, even if you are not at that stage yet, you can do this because Vectorworks has a couple of really cool things in it. If any of you have worked with AutoCAD and the notion of paper space versus drawing space or model space, we're doing the same thing here. And if you haven't, don't worry about it. File that in the back of your brain in case you ever take an AutoCAD class. Okay? So this looks the way I want it to look. Okay? I am now going to do View, Create Viewport. And I click Create Viewport and I get a pop-up. Okay? And I get lots of things here. Okay? Name the viewport. You may end up with lots of viewports. I expect life will be easier for you if you name it. So I'm going to call this Chris's light plot. Okay. Create on layer. Since this has, it's already had to export a light plot from this, it has this set up already, but I'm going to say new sheet layer. Okay. Sheet layer and sheet title, again, name things. The number is fine. You can just leave the number as it is, but I'm going to call the layer Chris's light plot. Okay. Click OK. If I have my drawing, if my screen looks the way I want everything to look, I don't need to select layers and classes. But I can. Let's say I have a layer on, I'm like, oh, I don't want that layer on. I click layers here and it gives me all my layers and I can adjust this as I want. Okay? Same thing with classes. I can turn things on or off or gray as I want. But it's going to default to what it is at the exact moment you start this process. Okay? Scale, we now actually have to start thinking about what scale we want our light plot in. Okay? 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch is pretty standard. 1/4 inch is a little small. 1/2 inch is nice, but your paper gets really big. So, you know, it's totally up to you.
How about 3/8?
You could do 3/8. Okay? You can do whatever you like. So we'll do 3/8 since Jules suggested 3/8. Okay? Top plan view, again, it's going to default to the current view. Light plots are usually done in a top plan view. Projection 2D, yep. And we click OK. And it works. Okay? Now, let's see what's going on here so we can look. We have this grid back here. That is a piece of paper. And this orange box is a window into our drawing. So your first statement is, oh my gosh, the drawing doesn't fit on the paper. Right? That's going to be a problem to print it out. No problem. We already know how to do this. File, page setup. Okay? We're going to double check printer setup. At this point, we want to make sure that our printer setup is at 100%. Very important. Okay? And I'm going to just click that so we can see. Oh, look, my paper got even smaller because now we're at 100% scale. No problem. Go back to page setup. Click choose size unavailable in printer. So my computer is set up for my home printer, which is a little 8.5 by 11 black and white printer. Okay, probably not much different from what most of you have at home. But when I'm going to output a light plot, I'm either going to take it to a place that has a plotter. Well, yeah, I'm going to take it to a place that has a plotter. So I have all these other paper sizes available. Okay, and you can look up what ASME A through ER and what US Architectural Standards A through ER and what ISO A0 through A4 are, or you can create your own. But frankly, if you use the standards, that's what most places can print. I think this fits on an architectural C, although we're not doing my usual size. So I'm going to just select architectural C, click OK, and that fits. Look at that. Okay. So I now have a light plot. Now here's the really cool thing. I can't select a light here because I am on the light plot. This is just a window into my light plot. The piece of paper is what this is all about. Does that make sense? Cool thing though, I'm going to come to my drop-down menu where it says Sheet 1, CRB light plot. I'm going to go back down to my design layer, and I'm going to write, I'm going to just use my text and just type, "Chris is awesome." Okay, just to show you, I have now typed that on the design layer. I come back over to the light plot, and it's there. Any changes I make in my design layer is going to automatically update on my paper space. Does that make sense?
So
yes.
That drop-down menu should have design layer because mine does not.
Does yours have lighting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So my lighting layer is called design layer in this drawing because that's how I set it up. Okay. But that is your current. These are your, up here are your sheet layers, and down here are your design layers. Okay. Okay. So I have this, and everything is done there. Couple of really cool things I want to show you. Let's say you want to dimension something, but you only want to dimension on your printout. You don't want it to show up when you're in your design layer because that gets messy, it gets hard to see. If you right click, or if you're on a mouse, control and click, you scroll down to the bottom, you have a bunch of things. Edit, edit annotations, edit crop, edit design layer, edit camera, and update. We're going to first look at our edit annotations. Okay. Now, when I'm on edit annotations, it's this really kind of weird thing. All of my scale is scaled to my design layer, but I'm not actually drawing on my design layer. Okay, but I'm going to use my dimension tool because it's really vitally important to me that this and this are exactly 3 feet 11.5 inches apart. It's not really vital to me, but we're going to assume it was. Okay, so I have marked that. Okay, and you notice there's an orange box that means I'm editing in kind of a weird place. Okay? That's Vectorworks for I'm editing in kind of an unusual place. I click Exit Viewport Annotation. Okay, that dimension is there, but I go back to my actual light plot, not there, because that only exists in the paper space. Does that make sense?
Is there another way to get to edit annotation? Because that's not on mine.
So you're in your light plot?
Gotcha.
Yep. And then click on it so you can see, so it's kind of showing orange. And then right click or control and click and scroll down to the bottom. Do you have it now?
No, I don't have it.
Okay. Zoom out farther. Okay. Do you all have Show Snap Modify on? Navigation classes? Yes? Okay. Okay. Control and click and scroll down. Are you finding it? Hands up who's not finding it. Okay.
That's all I have. How'd you get that?
I got closer to the edge.
Oh.
There you go. If you're having trouble, get closer to the edge. Is that You good?
I'm just watching.
Okay, great. Okay. If you're having trouble getting it to select, get really close to the edge of your drawing, of your viewport, and click there. That sometimes helps.
Clicking inside of it.
Yeah, that should work, but Vectorworks was probably trying to be helpful.
Gotcha.
Gosh darn them, okay? Now, here's the cool thing. So that 311 and a half, it's here, but let's say, oh, I want my light plot to be centered on the paper, so I grab my light plot and move it. Look, that stuff moves with it, okay? All of that editing that has to do with the viewport moves along as we drag it, okay? Cool. Now, we're gonna remember this. I'm about to go technically mess this up, but that's okay. I'm gonna show you how to fix it. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my design layer because we're missing a couple of things, okay? Or back to lighting, whatever you've called yours. And I need a key to instrumentation, so when someone looks at this, they know what that symbol means. I mean, we all know it's a Maverick MK2 wash, but you know, maybe you don't, maybe someone looking at this doesn't remember that. So we need to put in a lighting key. Okay, so instrument, not instrument summary tool. Oh, there's not a button for it anymore. Fine. Model, spotlight, reports. Okay, where did they hide it? Looking for key to instrumentation. I don't need a... That's what I get for updating, for running an update this morning. Huh? Yes, instrument summary tool. Thank you. Oh, that tool does both jobs now. Okay. There used to be two different tools there. I apologize. Because the instrument summary and the keyed instrumentation were two different things, but if I hover over this, it says instruments, so it's an instrument summary or a position summary or a keyed instrumentation. Cool. Well, I don't have to show you the other tool then. I click, I drag over here, and I just put off to the side, and I insert it, and if you look, here are all my lighting instruments that I've used, their symbol, their power, what they are. Okay, and I look at this, I'm like, it's kind of nice. I want to make some adjustments. Okay, go to my object info, and I can scroll down here, and I want to go to build list. Okay. Couple things. So if a light is in blue in my build list, that means that there aren't any in the light plot. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the ones that aren't in the light plot because we really don't need that. Okay. If you have run this and you add more lights, you come back, you're like, my new light types don't show up. You've got to click on the object info, and then any new lights you add will appear over here, and then you'll just have to use your arrows to move them across. Okay. I click OK. So that looks pretty nice. There are a couple of other things I can say. Show counts. Okay. Show counts means how many of these I have used. That can be very, very convenient for your master electrician or yourself if you're doing a shop order. Look, I need 4 PARs, 20 Source 4 Juniors, 10 USITT PAR LEDs at 90 watts, and 2 Chauvet Maverick MK2 washes. Cool. Okay. If you've put your inventory in, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, it will show, you can click compare to inventory, and it will show how many you've used versus how many the theater owns. Obviously, I have not put an inventory in here because it's all showing up as 0. Or more truthfully, I deleted the inventory this morning, so I could show you how to put an inventory in. Okay, which is when it asked me to run an update. Dumb thing. Okay, so again, you You do that up here with your build list, and that will show you all your stuff. Other things, if you want a break or headers or a divider line, you select it here, you put it over, and then you can just drag it to where you want it, because I want 2 lines there for whatever reason. You just fill in all that information, and it just draws this for you. Okay. It also includes a color summary, so it shows you what gel colors are used and at what size and your cuts. So when you're doing your gel order, it's all done right here for you. Isn't that awesome? Okay. So I just like to stick my light plot off to the side, or my lighting key off to the side, just so it's out of my way, but it's there. Okay. You must be putting your key on your design layer. Do not try to put it directly onto your paper space. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to my light plot. Uh-oh. Well, look, my key is all the way over here. Why? Because I added it to my design layer, so it showed up. Okay, but it's off the page. I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with that. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to want my key, but I'm going to want it separately so I can get to it on its own. I'm going to actually copy this, which I can do with any of my usual commands. So I can do Command C, I can do Edit Copy, I can hold down Option and drag. Okay, and I now have 2 design layers. I now have 2 viewports. Okay, have I doubled the number of my lights in my system? Nope, this is just a window to my design layer. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to select, I'm going to go down to Edit Crop. Okay. And what's a crop? Anyone know what a crop is in anything else? A cutting, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. I can draw any closed polygon shape. I could draw a star, as long as it is a polygon. So either using my polygon tool or a rectangle. In this case, I'm just going to draw a rectangle around the stuff I want. And I can zoom in on this and say, looks like I need to cut this down just a little bit. So I'm getting all the building in there. And I get that adjusted. And now I'm going to zoom back out so we can see I've drawn the rectangle. I now exit the crop. And that other key went away. Where'd it go? Anyone know? It didn't go anywhere. I just cropped it out of my picture. Okay? So I'm going to do exactly the same thing over here. Okay? I'm going to right-click. Oops. Right-click, Edit Crop. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to, especially around my key, because if I add lights, my key is going to get a little bit bigger. I like to draw just kind of a larger crop around my key, just in case. Okay? And I click Edit Crop now. Oops. And that annotation I drew, it's still there. So I'm going to get rid of that by doing Edit Annotations, and I'm just going to delete it. Boop, bye-bye. Oh, and I have another little annotation down here. Vectorworks is automatically going to add a little annotation that says the scale and the drawing title. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't need that at the moment. Didn't delete. Edit annotation. It just takes practice. Try to click on the edge of the viewport. And remember to right click. Okay, I'm going to bring this over here, get this lined up. You know, this isn't bad, but this is starting to look a little crowded, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and change my paper to 1 size bigger. Obviously, if you're doing Pirates of Penzance, you're going to be a lot sizes bigger. Okay, that looks better. That's not so cramped. Now, how many of you have ever taken a drafting class in high school or in college or anywhere? Never? Okay. And you remember what do we usually have other information on a light plot? The scale, yep. Although that's actually technically here. Look, it's already been inserted for us. But we should have some other information like our name, our contact information, the show name, the date. We're going to do that by creating a border around all of this, okay? So come back over to your tool sets, and we need to go to Dims and Notes. If we scroll down there, we have a title block and border. This also is one that used to be 2 separate keys, and it's now 1. Love that. Okay. Click and come over, and it's automatically, I love this, it's going to draw something that is the size of your paper. Okay. Click and drop it in. And now we have a border around our drawing. And that just makes our drawing look nice so it's not floating in midair. Okay. With our border selected, which it is, we go to Object Info, we can say Title Block and Border Settings. Now, if you are in 16, 17, 18, or 19, yes, it's all going to be slightly different. Okay. But you're all smart people. You're going to be able to figure out. I'm going to show you how we do it in. I've got 18. I'm going to show you how it works there. It works pretty much the same. It's just the pop-up menu looks a little differently. Okay. So I'm going to say title block border settings. Okay. Sheet border, I can edit all kinds of stuff there. Zones, title block. Okay. I'm going to import title block graphics. Okay. Some of you, it's going to automatically come to this pop-up right away. If I click on this, I've got a whole bunch of title blocks that are pre-built into Vectorworks. You can create your own. It takes a lot of time. Or, what I recommend for the moment, use one that's here, okay? And you can click on all these and see which one you like. I'm personally a fan of Spotlight title block, but I'm personally a fan of it. You don't have to be. You can like any of these and more. There's tons of these in here. Okay, I'm going to select it and say OK, and it's going to put a title block in for me. Now I can choose, do I want it the bottom right, the top right, bottom left, all these things. Title blocks are typically on the bottom and on the right side of the page. But again, you can change it. Okay. And then you're going to fill in the data. Okay, if your data does not fill in here, I'm going to show you the one other place, depending on your version of Vectorworks, where it might be. If this is the one, when I click File Name here, so Production Title Block, okay, come down here to Production Title 1. When I fill this in, this is, for me, it's S130, actually it's Devise Theater. Devise Theater. And it's fall 2018. And the director's name is Jeff, W-I-N. Anyone know how to spell Jeff's last name?
Nope.
Okay, Jeff, W-I-E-N, Kowski. But I'm going to actually look it up because I don't want this printed out with his name spelled wrong. Designed by, whose name goes in there? Yours, the designer. Venue, oh, is that a question?
Yes.
Yes.
So I gave up on cropping because I can't get to that menu. I put the title block in. How are you at this menu? I missed you opening that.
Okay. Title block and border settings.
Thank you.
And come down here to sheet data, project data, and revision data, and issue data.
Thank you.
Like I said, they all look a little bit different. Okay. But the weird thing, and I have to tell you, it took me forever to figure this out. I have to click up here. And then I edit it down below. Okay, that to me is a little disconcerting. If you're in 16, you didn't have to do that. I have not downloaded 19 yet. So if anyone has 19, can you tell me if you have to still edit at the bottom or not?
It's actually another, you click on something else and then
it pops up.
It's a pop-up.
Okay. Yep. This has gone through so many changes, version to version to version. So project data is going to refer to, in theory, every sheet layer you do. that make sense? So if you, or every sheet you do. So if you do one for your booms, if you do a separate one for the set, okay? Project refers to everything. Sheets refer to this specific page. Although I will tell you, version to version to version, how well that works is questionable. Okay? Sheet title, again, you can fill in, if it will let you edit it, you can fill it in. Date, you always want to have the date that you did the light, that you exported it. 28, 211, what's the date? The 19th? 17th?
No, it's the 19th. I'm so sorry.
Okay. One of the older versions had a date button that you could just click. I love that. Sheet scale. I wish it would import the sheet scale, but it does not. 3/8 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. Drawn by. That's whoever is the drafts person. Okay. Fill all that stuff in. You can zoom in on the title block to see how it looks. Okay. And yes, you occasionally will have to go click through revision data, issue data, project, sheet, title block, clicking through all these things till you find whatever it is you're trying to change. Okay. And different title blocks have different fun glitches. I'm just going to say it that way. Okay.
How did you add the title block? It just keeps telling me that I don't have a title block.
So do you have a menu that looks like this, like the one on the screen?
No, I can't get to that because it says I don't have a title block.
Scroll to the bottom of your title block border. Do you have a add title block at the bottom of that? I'm gonna come over and check.
Edit title block.
Title block. Right there. And there. And pick a title block. Yes, I apologize. This has been the menu item that has gone through the most changes in recent years. So if any of you are having trouble after today, drop me a note and let me know which version you have, and I'm going to see if I can either drag it out of my memory on how to do it if it's a previous version, or help point you to some resources if you have 2019, which I'm probably going to upgrade to next week because Measure for Measure has now closed, and I'm not designing a show at the moment. Well, I am, but I think Devise Theater will survive the upgrade. Okay? So, I now have title block, and you can get super fancy with the title blocks. You're going to see there are tons of things you can click and check and play with. Guess what? You can click and check and play with them as much as you want. Okay? So I now have 2 viewports. Okay? And the great thing, anything I edit on automatically will update on the drawing page. I have a title block. This is ready for me to plot. So I can either export as PDF and then take that to a place with a plotter and print it out, or if I have a plotter at home, because that's what I asked for my Thanksgiving present. Because that's right, the turkey comes down the chimney and brings a present on Thanksgiving. If I ask for a plotter and one magically appears Thursday morning, you can just print straight to your plotter. Okay. By the way, please no one buy me a plotter. I do not have room in my house for a plotter. Okay. So we can edit a crop. We can edit our design layer. We can move these things around. We can do other things, like, remember, if you have notes that you want to put about your drawing, basically just type them in. Okay. Notes 1. Please hang in a safe manner. 2. Call the designer if you have problems. 3. Drink lots of orange juice. Okay? Whatever your notes are. Okay? And you look at them and you're like, oh, that's nice. I don't like the font. Fine. Go up to text. You have all the fonts in your computer to choose from. No Comic Sans. It's too small. Text, you can do the size. Oh, let's make it 28. Lovely. Okay? Whatever you need to do. Okay? And if you want to draw little cows and chickens on the title block in the corner, you can. In the old days, prior to all the computer drafting, Disney used to use stamps to show which drawing set it was. And the first drawing was, I think, Alice, and it had a little picture of Alice that they would stamp on it. And then the second revision would have Baloo, and then the Cheshire Cat and Dumbo, Donald. Anyway, it was the ABCD was the characters in alphabetical order. It was a quick visual way for someone to go, oh, which version of the drawing do you have? Because if you're doing a show, there might be this, oh, they made a change, you'll update the plot. It's really important to put the date on, but something else visual can be very, very helpful to go, yes, there it is. Okay, that's which version I'm working off of. Okay, great. So we have now done a light plot that we can output. And if you were following along today, you're good to go. If you have more lights to do, you can just add them and then come back over here. The only thing that may happen sometimes, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this to do it, but if your viewport has a red stripy border around it, it means that something has changed that it has decided is too complicated to update at the moment. And it's doing that to save processor speed on your computer. So if you have that, if you're looking at going, it's not updated, or it sometimes displays with an X or with a red and white stripe around it, select it, go to your object info and click update, and it will update it. Typically, that is much more of a problem in scenic design drawings, because you have hidden lines, you have some more complicated things, and Vectorworks goes, too complicated, I'm not doing it, until you ask me to. And then it will sometimes have to process for a minute or so, but then it will do it. So if you see a red stripe, or if you see it's just a giant X, go to object info and select update. Okay? I'm not sure how to force this into something that it's not going to like, so I'm not going to bother. Okay. One other thing, where it says drawing title down here at the bottom, if you want that to say light plot, in object info, change the drawing title to light plot, and it will update on the drawing. Okay. Cool. So the next thing we have to do is our paperwork. I'm going to pop back to the lighting layer to my design space, not for any reason other than it's just where I'm much more comfortable working. And we're going to remove the statement that Chris is awesome, because, well, he is. Oh, I forgot one other thing. We have to do a lighting section. So everyone remember what a lighting section is? Anyone remember what a lighting section is? And remember what a section drawing is? What's a section drawing, Ethan?
It's when it's cut in half and you see through the side.
Right, it's when we cut the drawing in half and we see through the side. So we're going to do a lighting section. It is really nice for the electricians to get a lighting section, especially on a show with electrics, so it can show them how high or low the electrics are. So to do a section drawing, you're going to love this. View, create section viewport. Section drawings are usually done along the center line of the set, although you can do them wherever you want, but they're typically done along the center line of the set. Click Create Section Drawing. The next thing you have to do is draw a line. Okay, I'm going to draw a line top to bottom. And then if you see, there's an arrow that appeared on stage. Currently looking to stage left, now looking to stage right. Once you have your line drawn, it'll put that arrow in. Whichever way the arrow is pointing is which way you will see in the section. I'm going to say stage left. Come on. Try that again. Section drawings are grumpy. I'm just going to warn you. They shouldn't be, but they sometimes are. There we go. So once you have the arrow, click again. Okay. Again, I'm going to put this on its own layer. This is going to be CRB section. And I'm going to call the drawing section, lighting section, called lighting section.
Did you do a sheet layer
I did a new sheet layer. Yep. Okay. Scale. Oh, we were doing 3/8. We'll do 3/8 again. Okay. Rendering. It's going to default to hidden line. The whole point about a section is that it shows you what's solid, what's at center line, what's behind it. So that's good. And click OK. And it may take it a moment. Okay. Here is my lighting section.
You did hidden line?
Yes.
Okay.
So anything that's red, it cut through, so we can see this is what the light plot looks like in section. Look, we cut right through that light. That's kind of awesome. But what's not awesome is it's not fitting on the paper. So we're going to try a different paper size. Page setup. Make sure we're at 100%. And this is probably will fit on a C. It might fit on a B. Yours will probably not fit on a B. Okay, but again, play with it till you like what it looks like. There we go. Okay, we're going to put a border on it and a title block. Import title block. And in theory, yeah, it didn't. Previous versions imported your project data from the last title block you put in, which is what it's supposed to do. If anyone has 2019, if you let me know if it does it, that will be the biggest motivation for me to upgrade to 2019. It's because I hate having to type this stuff in again. Carlin, you said you read 2019?
Yeah, but I'm having some
Okay.
problems.
In theory, project data is supposed to import. It's not. Okay. And I'm just being really quick about this. And I click OK. And now I have a section drawing. And we can go, oh, look, the drawing is interfering with the title block. That's fine. I can just move my viewport till everything's laid out just the way I want it laid out. There we go. Simple. Great. No? What's your problem, Jules?
I don't know. It's just, I just have a lot of.
Well, that's perfect.
Okay. I don't know.
What's wrong?
I just missed a lot of steps, so I'm working on it.
Okay.
I have to go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Hers isn't showing up as red.
Update it. Select the box. The viewport, yeah, the red white stripe. Do a right click and do a force select. And click update. Yep. So section drawings, often you have to click update. So when if you see that red and white stripe around something, it means that it needs to be updated. Okay. And yes, it will often look wrong while it's not updated, because it means the computer was lazy and said, oh, that's going to take too many resources. I'm not going to do it until you ask. Okay. So now we've got about 18 minutes left and we're going to do paperwork. So I'm going to go back to my design layer. Remember, we need to do an instrument schedule and a channel hookup. An instrument schedule is every light by position. A channel hookup is every light by channel number. And in the old days, we used to have to type all that out. And when we add a light, we'd have to go through and do all this work again and type it all out again. Anyone who's done it the old way, you're going to absolutely love this. This is the biggest thing that converts lighting designers to Vectorworks, is this next step. So we're going to go to Spotlight. And we're going to go down to Reports. And we're going to go to Generate Paperwork. Okay. And this brings us up to a basic menu. So instrument schedule, channel hookup, that's what we're required to do for this class, okay? Event information, designer name. Make sure you put your name in there. Okay, this is Devise Theater for me. It's Pirates of Penzance for you. And the date. Now here I'm going to show you something. This is one place where I left this. When I click the date button, it puts today's date in. Yay! Okay. And I don't want magic sheets. Okay. I'm going to tell you something like going, wait, Vectorworks would have done our magic sheets for us? The answer is yes, but I hate Vectorworks magic sheets. So I do my own. If you like Vectorworks magic sheets, that's fine. Anyone who turns in a Vectorworks magic sheet, I will tell you right off the bat, I'm going to print out your magic sheet and test you to see if the magic sheet gives you the information you need to figure out what light you need to turn on for a certain part of the stage. Because I find Vectorworks magic sheets very confusing. Some people love them. And if that works for your brain, great. Okay, header configuration, I want my date at the left, the show in the middle, and my name on the right. No, that's not a rule. You can do it any way you want. Okay, and I click OK. And nothing happened. Yep. I mean, you can run more of them, and you're free to explore all the other options. Huh? Happened? Oh, that's your magic sheet. Yeah, magic sheets will happen. Okay. What I'm going to ask you guys to do, though, is go to Window, scroll down to Worksheets, and click inside your channel hookup. And you will see, oh, I have to finish putting the dimmer data in here. You will see your channels, instrument type, wattage, purpose, color, everything I filled in object information has automatically populated in here. Now, here is the downside. In some versions of Vectorworks, none of the recent ones, unless 19 is doing it, your channel hookups would auto-update. When you made a change in the plot, it would automatically update your channel hookup, etc. This was leading to a lot of computers crashing. So they do not auto-update anymore. So what you are going to have to do is you're going to have to, if you're like, and basically I look at this and go, oh look, I need to fill in dimmer number for this information. I need to fill in some stuff for this. I then close this. I click on the lights that I need to edit. I make whatever changes I need to do, and then I have to spotlight, reports, generate paperwork, and run them again.
Can you modify it in the report?
I knew you were going to ask that question. According to the manual, if you set up a couple of things first, you can. I have, and I have not done it in 18 or 17. Back in 14, it was really buggy to do that. It was called an interactive worksheet. They've changed the name, so I'm hoping they have changed how it works. But I have found it to be buggy. Now, if you're using 19 and it's not buggy, fantastic. And it probably on a light plot as small as this one, it probably wouldn't be a problem. On Pirates, it's a larger light plot. Okay. So we talked about inventory, right? I'm going to show you in here with your reports. There is an inventory button, and there is a setup next to inventory. This brings up a pop-up that says, okay, how many par 64 MFLs do you have? We have 4 WFLs. We have 3, 6, 12. 12. How many spots do we have? 0. How many washes do we have? We have 2. How many source for zooms do we have? We have 22, I think. How many par LEDs do we have? We have 12. Okay, I click OK. And one of the things I want to show you is If I now go to my key and I say compare to inventory, my inventory is now there and loaded up and correct. Okay. It also means I can run an inventory report, which is one of the other things you can run when you're running reports. And that's basically the same thing as the key, only it's as a spreadsheet. Okay. I want to go back into my worksheets. Printing these things is a little tricky. Good, I've got a couple moments. If you are the type of person who loves keyboard commands, your keyboard commands do not work in the worksheets. Command P does not work in the worksheet. It will always print out your light plot. I print out more chunks of my light plot because I forget that Command P does not work while I'm in a worksheet. Okay. While you're in the worksheet, you've got to use the commands up here. Okay. Before you go to print, we're going to go to Preferences. Do you want to put a header or footer on it? You can. Couple of things. I usually turn print tabs off. I do leave auto recalculate on. Okay. When I go to printer setup, I don't know why, but I find I usually have to set these to 75% scale. And when I'm going to print these, I always do a preview first to make sure that it looks okay. Okay. Yes, that looks okay. The N in November gets cut off. That's fine. I mean, it's not, but we live with it. If your setup is too wide, it will print like a grid and expect you to tape things together, which is not convenient. I find that setting your print scale to 75% usually works. If you look at your preview and you're like, nope, this is all disorganized, try 60%, okay? But make sure it looks good. Yeah. Any questions? By the way, you'll have to do that same setup thing for each report you want to run. So I close this one and then I go to Window, Worksheets, Instrument Schedule. And this is everything by position. And I click Preferences and I turn off the tabs. It's up to you. But I do suggest that when you're going to use these, you take a moment to check them a couple times before you actually try to print them. File, print. And again, if you're on a Mac, do an open in preview and you can actually just look at it and go, yep, that looks good. Or nope, that doesn't look good. Okay, and if it doesn't look good, fix it. Any questions? Any other Vectorworks questions? Okay, I'm going to end the recording.